Zebec has announced some absolutely insane partnerships that I do think will change everything for them. So I want to talk about what they are, what the implications could be, all of that type of stuff coming into this next video. Now, before we did that though, I just did want to give a bit of an update of where we're at with price for Zebec. We are down a little bit today off the back of some good news, but I don't necessarily attribute this to the actual news itself, but rather to the market. So we're going to just be going and doing a little bit of a level set there, and then we will be moving on into the specific news of the day, what it is, what it means, all of that type of good stuff. So first off, let's take a look at the Zebec chart here. We can see on the Zebec chart kind of fighting around this kind of 0043 resistance here, which is definitely something that we'll have to, hopefully break through here soon. But this has been quite a difficult problem to solve, at least over the past couple of weeks. You can see we had kind of a momentary breakthrough kind of between like the 11th and the 13th of September, but it was a quick kind of in and out here, and then now we're still kind of hanging below it. We are getting closer to this ascending trend line, from this kind of wedge that we are in. So we would expect this to hold if this larger structure is going to be confirmed, which would be really nice if it was, because this has been a structure that has been building basically since the end of April. So, this is something that has been in the works for a while, and would be nice if it continues to hold. If we were to see a breakout to the upside, we could trust this as a pretty high confidence move. So also looking at the crypto bubbles, I did want to show, just even though we have seen a move to the downside for Zebec, this is basically the case for most things in the crypto market. Obviously, we do have some greens here and there, but the vast majority of the market is red after being pretty green yesterday, actually. And if we look at the week, we are still technically green on the week. We do have a bunch of greens kind of smattered in and around here, but the thing is we actually still do have a decent bit of red. So this week I would say has been about a net neutral. This does not at all surprise me, just given some of the volatility we have seen, probably should be expecting to see more of in this market because of all of the rate cuts, and today is the triple or quad witching event. I can't remember which it is, but there's a lot of stuff going on here that we need to be paying very close attention to. Now, taking a look here, I wanted to show you, if we look at Ethereum, actually this candle just came out of nowhere. We're seeing a lot of volatility here in the markets. We are seeing a couple of different things. Obviously, as I mentioned, we're going to have that kind of inherent volatility coming out of the triple witching event or quad witching. Again, I can't remember. I think it's quad witching. But then also we actually saw the Bank of Japan actually raise interest rates very, very soon after the US cut interest rates. And so I do think that this is rattling the markets a little bit, because that global economy does appear to start to be starting to weaken a little bit, which of course is not the best news ever. So we'll have to see just kind of how all of this unfolds. You can see here, we are starting to see, potentially a bit of a scary red candle here for Ethereum. Holding this $4,500 range is going to be very important. We'll see if we can. Currently, we've kind of broken just barely below it, but we'll see, if we can kind of buy that back up and kind of wick that candle out a little bit. What we can see here is Arrow and Epic down much more from where we were yesterday. Both of these were up well over 100%, whereas actually sitting only close to about 50% currently. Again, this is a risk I've kind of decided to take just based off of holding structure here. If we look at Arrow specifically, you can see I put that stop loss. I actually raised it because of the weakness in the market that we're seeing, but I did kind of want to hold it here as kind of this, as long as it holds structure, it's fine. Otherwise, we'll hit that stop loss and we'll move on. Not the end of the world at all. We have already taken profits for kind of most of these big ones, so I'm not really worried at all if they do come back and hit stop losses. That's just kind of how it goes and the risk you take when you're trading. Linnea, however, has moved up. It's well over 200% at this point, so that's doing just fine. Feeling good about that one. And then Zebec, of course, we do have a position open, only up about 10%. It's really not doing anything too crazy. It, of course, was up more than that yesterday, but given some of the moves that we have seen here in the market, it is, of course, kind of coming back a little bit. Now, I want to talk about a couple of different things today as it relates to Zebec currently. Before I do that, though, if you are interested, of course, I do have those links in the description below if you are looking to get signed up and start trading. As I've mentioned, we've had a lot of different trades coming through on the channel here. Most of them being quite profitable at this point, at least so far. Obviously, some of these could go through and get stopped out and potentially turn unprofitable, but at least at this point, things are looking pretty good. But anyway, moving along, I want to take a quick look here at the news of the day, which is a couple of different things for Zebec. Like I said, partnerships coming in from everywhere. We could see first off, we have a partnership with HBAR. HBAR is essentially, it's an HCM. They're excited to essentially announce their stablecoin payroll joint venture. HBAR is working with the Zebec network to build a stablecoin payroll tool for its 4 million customers across the US. Together, we'll be working hand in hand to bring together the power of stablecoins and streaming technology to HBAR's industry-leading HCM software platform. This is major news because this means Zebec is starting to get into kind of the real legacy payroll space, which is of course really good. You can see HBAR has 4 million customers already, so it is a well-defined, well-established brand. This is a really, really great kind of partnership or a kind of a, collaboration that we are seeing between the two, which is really, really good to see. Now, next up, I guess I should say, we can see here, we have Zebec going through and actually sponsoring mini sports teams over this kind of upcoming season here. So I think this is going to be really good as well for the Zebec network. Actually, I believe this is for Uphold, but Zebec has actually been, very well connected with Uphold. You can see Zebec and Uphold is kind of like that's the announcement there. So again, another major announcement. More eyes are going to be getting on Zebec. To me, this is just one of the easiest conviction plays, again, in my opinion, that we are seeing so far. And so I want to take a look at kind of what this could mean for several of these different types of, for Zebec, if we saw it do some of the numbers that some of these other coins have already done. So first off, let's take a look here at Zebec if it were to hit the market cap of XLM. Now, I use XLM specifically because it's kind of like XRP. It's like solving the payments problem, things like that, but it's not quite as large as XRP. We'll get to XRP in a second. But if we were to see this happen, even at what is like Zebec's current price, this would be a 35x. And if we were looking at the XLM all-time high, this would actually be closer to a 50x at that point, which of course would be a really, really nice move for everybody. Now, if we were to look at something like, let's just say HBAR, because HBAR is trying to break into this payment space as well, then, we could see something that's closer to a 30x. And if we go to all-time highs, closer to a 40x. So between HBAR and XLM, we are seeing kind of between that like 30 to 50x kind of range is what we could expect out of Zebec if we were to see them, again, hit the market caps of these others. Now, I know what all you're thinking. I know what all you're wanting. What would it be if we hit XRP? Because XRP is kind of, at least at this point, they're kind of the king of payments, right? And so if we were to hit the market cap of XRP, of course, we will see kind of a pretty strong price appreciation there. This is something, again, I will kind of forecast, or not forecast, but like provide a disclaimer that I don't personally believe that this is going to happen, at least inside of the next 5 years minimum. Maybe if it does happen, but I really don't think so. Just given kind of the market cap of comparable payroll companies and things like that, they would kind of just have to truly completely own the payroll game to see a market cap similar to this. And even then, I do still remain a bit skeptical. But anyway, that being said, if we were to hit the price of XRP, or I guess the market cap of XRP, we would be looking at a $2.08 Zebec, which is a 514x from here, which is an absolutely insane move. Now, again, like I said, I don't actually really personally believe that we could do a 500x on Zebec. I think hitting XRP is really not reasonable for a couple of different reasons. Zebec is more attacking the like limited payroll space specifically, where XRP is looking to be kind of like this holistic payments provider primarily focused on institutions. And so there is a bit of a difference and a nuance there. And so I did just want to kind of clarify that. But I do think, though, with some of these major partnerships that are coming, we are seeing that adoption. We are seeing a lot of that come through for Zebec. And that, of course, at least in my opinion, is going to do very, very well for the price. I do think something like an HBAR or maybe an XLM is entirely doable. And so I will be paying very, very close attention to see what happens coming from Zebec here as we kind of get closer. So overall, that's kind of my thoughts on where we're at with Zebec. Again, I'm still very, very bullish on Zebec. I personally have positions for 1 million Zebec open. I'm probably looking at getting more, but again, this is all my own personal financial decisions. You, of course, need to make your own decisions and come up with whatever amount makes sense. Maybe it's more than that, maybe it's less than that. I don't know. that's all up to you. So anyway, overall, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, of course, a like and a subscribe does help. You also can hit that notification bell so you stay up to date with all crypto, all altcoin updates that we do bring. We are, of course, always trying to stay up to date with what is going on in the crypto market. So if you find that valuable, that is a great way to stay tuned. So also, if you have any comments, questions, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those, and I'd be really interested to see kind of what your thoughts are with some of these partnerships. Do you think they're just kind of more vanity than anything else, or do you think that they're actually truly, kind of some major pivot points for the Zebec project? So I'd be interested to know. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.